of these people do you feel is guilty? Bill Cosby, R. Kelly, Michael Jackson, or OJ?
All of them except for Michael Jackson.
Okay.
And that might sound crazy, but I really don't. You know, like, from a psychological perspective, like, from a professional perspective, and we can all disagree. Not, you know, the people that, I mean, there's some people in my field that might disagree with me. Mm-hmm. We don't always think the same. Peter Pan syndrome, you know, that's not even a real thing. Like, it's not in the DSM book, but it's real, man. It's real. Like, you can tell by his childhood, and he didn't have a childhood.
Right.
He didn't have a childhood. He was a celebrity. He was a superstar when he was young, and that happens to a lot of Disney actresses and shit and actors. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like he was a child in a grown man's body. I really believe that. So it's like, you know, he would hang out with the kids because what adult wants to, like, not many adults like roller coasters. Me, I still go to Six Flags and shit because I got a season pass. That's the only, like, real bomb-ass amusement park we have here, and I just love the thrill. And I love adventure, and that's just how I am. So if I want to go somewhere quick and I want to do something crazy, I'll go on a roller coaster. Mm-hmm. Whereas Michael Jackson, he really wanted to, like, play games. He's like 30 years old, and I want to sit here and, like, play games, and it's not many adults who have the time. Plus, he's rich, so he don't have to go to work. So he's like, at home.
You can do whatever you want.
You know, instead of him going to the strip club, he's like, I want to play games. So, I mean, who else is going to hang out with you except for, like, teenagers? You know what I'm saying? Like, so I could be wrong, but if you look up Peter Pan syndrome, it describes into a T. It's basically a child in a grown man's body. Okay. So I feel like he hung out with people who mentally was his age. I don't believe that he touched them. I wasn't there. I can't say. But based off of some of the accounts, like, I've read, you know, I love reading shit. So based off of, like, the court records and things that I've read and how some of them recanted or they wasn't able to describe his private part. Right. It's a lot of discrepancies.
Yeah, it's a lot. So
I will give him the benefit of the doubt, and out of all of them, if I had to give any of them the benefit of the doubt, it would be Michael Jackson.
Okay.
Out of all of them.
But you feel the rest of them is guilty?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
In my own way. Now, I know people love Bill Cosby, especially, you know, my family's from Philly, so my grandma loved Bill Cosby. And you listen, but grandma, I disagree. Listen. Don't get me wrong. Listen, I know not all the women may be telling the truth. I get it. Not all of them may be telling the truth.
But all of them can be lying.
Listen, not all of them can be lying. They all, listen, this is why, as a woman, I've been in situations where I was at work and I've had male coworkers kind of like do the same, you know, like, thankfully it wasn't like that. Like, I know better than going to a hotel room. But, you know, I used to work in the casinos. I would have people, like, proposition me or try to get me with that, oh, I just want to talk to you. And, like, you know, especially if they're rich and they have money. Mm-hmm. You know, like, I'm not that type of woman. I'm not that type of woman to do that. But there are some women who are so desperate for a chance. They'll go up there naive. Like, I'm pretty sure, you know, you got to understand. It's hard, bro. How can I put this?
I have a theory. Mm-hmm. My theory is they went up there. They knew what they was going up there to do. And he's into that. And he just said, well, y'all, and they just did it with him.
What I'm saying, I get what you're saying. There were some women, I believe, probably knew what to expect. And they were probably down with the shit. Then there's some women who I think were so desperate for a shot. You know what I'm saying? He's like, you got to think about it. If it was any other man, you know what I'm saying? If it was a Future, mm-hmm. and he's like, come to my room. I'm not saying Future does this, but, you know, a guy like that, a fuckboy. Mm-hmm. Or one of those dudes where you know that they want some fucking sugar. Yeah. Then you would expect that. You'd be like, I'm going to the hotel room, and it's a chance that he might want something in return.
Right.
Because of the context. I'm in a hotel room. It's kind of an appropriate meeting spot to talk about business. Not that you have to give it up or you should even be put in that position. As a woman, I wouldn't want to be pressured. If I don't want to, I don't want to. Right. If I came here for a movie deal and you tell me you're going to give me a movie, if you tell me beforehand that we got to do something before the movie deal, but if you like just come to my room, you know, after work, you might get that in the back of your mind that he might want something, but then again, you might be like hoping that he's a decent man because you want it so bad that you're willing to risk it and go up there anyway, and just hope that he's noble enough to be like, bro, I really don't. You give him the option at least. We can do this or we can't. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So My thing is with Bill Cosby, this is why it makes it so hard. With Bill Cosby, he's a respectable man.
Right.
He's a family man.
Right.
So if Bill Cosby came up to me and was like, we had a long day at work, whatever. I'll only be free at 10 p.m. at night. Come to my hotel room. That's Bill Cosby. He's a father. He has a wife. He's a respectable man. Some people might not expect that from him. He's a mentor. He's not one of those men that you would think would be the one to even proposition a woman. He's a married man. I'm Bill Cosby. I'm noble. I'm more his morality. That's his whole character, right? So if Bill Cosby asked me to come to his room, this is what I'm saying. With most men, women, you already know what he probably want. So it's like, bro, you kind of knew what you was getting into. Not that it's okay for them to take advantage of you, but you might have had a heads up of what you was getting in. Whereas Bill Cosby comes up to you, it's like, Bill's not going to do that to me. If Bill tells me to come to his hotel room, it must be because it's just convenient and maybe because, he wants me to feel comfortable. That's Bill, though. That's a father figure. Bill's not going to take advantage of me. Now, I don't know Bill back in the day. I don't know how well those women knew Bill. Some of them might have been partying. I didn't even know he did Quaaludes or whatever the fuck. I wouldn't have expected that because that's Bill Cosby.
Right.
So so some of those women who are like me, that saw Bill Cosby as Bill Cosby before the allegations or before the charges came out, I would have been like, not Bill. Even me, I'd be like, not Bill Cosby. But it's like, now that I know his history in he was doing the disposition or whatever the fuck. I don't specialize in that, but he was talking about how, he gave him the drugs and shit. And I'm like, Bill? Drugs? Like, not Bill. That kind of gave me a whole different perspective.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying
how, the door a little wider,
I'm just saying how he could have easily fooled people, and maybe that's why they went to his room, or maybe that's why they met up with him, because they really didn't expect that from him.
That's very
You know what I'm saying? It might have been some naive people because that's Bill Cosby.
Right.
So some people be like, you went to the hotel room, you knew what it was, not with fucking Bill Cosby. That's like if Bill Gates come up to you and be like, I want you to come to my room. I don't think Bill Gates he don't seem like that type. Don't get me wrong. I don't know what Bill Gates does. Listen, I know it's a lot of, it's some things out there. I'm just using it as an example.
Right.
Like, it's just somebody you at least expect to proposition you.
Right.
And I feel like, in a way, he took advantage. You know what I'm saying? You knew that they wanted stardom. You knew they'd probably do whatever it took to get it. So, in a way, you still took advantage. Because a lot of people saw him as a mentor. So, either way you put it, you still took advantage. You're a mentor. You're a husband. You're an outstanding citizen. You're not just anybody.
Right.
So you still took advantage. At the least, he took advantage.
Yeah.
And he might have drugged them because at the same time, if you're having consensual sex, why would you give them a sedative? Why would you want to sedate me you know what I'm saying? That's not, even by that definition, that's not even consent. Now, it's different if they was partying, but if you're both partying and you're both taking sedatives, then you're not even messing around, right? But he admitted how, if they messed around, but it was consensual. It's not consensual if she's sedated. It's also the type of drug that he gave them. What other intentions would you have to give them a sedative? How can you have willing consensual sex if they're sedated? And it's every woman. It's every woman. So it's different if you came up there and was like, oh, I gave him some weed or something. But you gave him a sedative. Like, that ain't a good time. You can't sit here and be like, I gave it to them because they wanted it. I don't think they wanted it because how can they even cooperate if they're fucking sedated? So it's stuff like that where I think he is guilty. I think he's guilty. I wasn't there, so I don't know. I don't want to sound naive.
I was just trying
But based off of the points I just made, is the reason why he took advantage at the very least.
That's it.
I'll say that much.
Very strong
And
argument.
it's different when it comes to Bill Cosby because, like I said, who he is.
Yeah.
If it was a regular man, then you already know what you already know what they about, most likely. But Bill Cosby, a lot of people probably wouldn't even expected that. So I feel like he took advantage of that. Like a lot of people probably wouldn't have thought twice because that's Bill. So.
Damn.
You get my point, man. You get my point.
Damn,
That's why I feel the way. And R. Kelly guilty as fuck. He guilty.
Is he guilty for liking young girls?
He guilty. Look, he guilty because Aaliyah alone.
See, and that's why everybody.
Can't
I think
even
everybody
give
feel
him
that
the
same
benefit of
way
the doubt.
though.
He took advantage. He took advantage. Not only did he take advantage, but it was illegal. And Aaliyah didn't even want to talk about his ass. Like once she got older, she realized in interviews. Like I watched the interview, she was like, I don't even want to talk about that. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like, oh, she loved him too. Like, based off of the interview I've seen when she got older, it was like, I don't even want to talk about that. Because I feel like, in a way, she might have known that he took advantage.
Yeah.
So, out of all of them, I'm rocking with Michael. Okay? Because I really believe that he has Peter Pan syndrome. Could be wrong, wasn't there with none of them, but just based off of the facts, that's why I see it the way I see it. So, that's my reason.